Hello everyone, I am Aditya and today I welcome you to our very first video of Machine Learning playlist by Neural Data. So our today's topic of discussion will be about machine learning and its different types. And if you have got any query, you can visit our website. It's given on the screen itself. So from today onwards, we are going to take a deep dive into machine learning as well as deep learning algorithms. As a procedure, we will divide each algorithms into two parts. The first part will be theory part, which will include mathematical concepts, and the second part will be Python coding. And here in Python coding we will take real-time examples, industrial examples, so that you can correlate it with the original project that you are going to do in a company. So this will be our general process for any algorithm, whether it is supervised or unsupervised. Consider we get a substantial amount of request for R code. Then in that case, along with this Python coding, we will include R code in our playlist also. So everything will be transparent, how a algorithm is working and which type of problem it is solving for this real-time scenario. Now, let me define this machine learning concept. Machine learning is nothing but a subset of artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is a super subset and machine learning got derived from this. And this AI is a part of computer science that we already know, right? So the primary goal of this machine learning is to build a new algorithm or leverage the existing one by learning some useful informations from the historic data that we provide. So consider we have a sales data here. So we provide it to our ML, then it gets trained here, okay, and then it knows something. So now if we provide a new data, then this ML will do its calculation, will run its algorithm, and then it will predict or it will classify or it will show the result here. So this is how ML works, machine learning works. So there are three categories of machine learning algorithm. First one is supervised learning, second one is unsupervised learning, third one is reinforcement learning. Now I will show you all these subcategories one by one. So the first one would be supervised learning. So basically, supervised learning is a learning in which we teach the machine, consider this is a machine, and we teach it with the well-labeled data. Labeled data will be given. Consider there is a hospital data where insurance column is there, that a person has claimed insurance or not. So this is kind of label data, and here we will have a patient name, patient age, type of disease, like that. So against each patient we will have whether a person has got insurance or not. So this final output will have label. So this is what I am talking about, that we feed our system with these type of data that already have got this label. So after that the machine is provided with the new data set like this, and when a new data set is given as an example, then this model will analyze and then it will produce the output. Then we will check the accuracy for that. So this is how it works. Consider these are two inputs given to machine learning algorithm, then it will produce some output. So this is the very basic structure. Now I will take one instance. Consider we have got a basket of fruits. So this is our fruit basket. We have got 4 fruits: grapes, oranges, apples and bananas. So how would we feed these data to our system, to our algorithm? So every fruit has its properties, attributes, right? Attributes as in shape. Some are in oval shape, some are in round shape, some have long shape, kind of that. And there will be some depression at the top, like if you see apple, there are some depression at both ends, right? Then we have a color attribute, which color it is, red, yellow, orange. These are the attributes that we feed to our algorithm, and then we say, like, if the fruit is red in color and there is a depression in that at both the ends, up and down, and it is almost round in shape, then that will output as apple. Since our algorithm already get trained on these parameters for different fruits, then if we provide a new shape like this we have provided, then directly our machine learning algorithm will say it is banana. And yes, there is a accuracy parameter in that. Sometimes it may predict it as some different fruit. so that is acceptable, but in most of the time it will predict correctly. So this is the system I was talking about. Here a known data will be fed into the system supervised learning model, and for this known data we already have known response. So against every data we have every response already known that these are FP. Now if we provide any new data, so this new data is provided here in this model, then this model will do the calculation and then it will provide the response. This is new response. So now it is taking that it is an apple. Now I will give you one beautiful example of this. One such example I would take would be facial recognition system of Facebook. So do you use Facebook? Obviously yes, what a dumb question I am asking, right? But have you ever noticed how come Facebook recognizes our photo or video in an album automatically every time we upload something new? So in Facebook, once you put your photo, then it will start suggesting you like this is you. Do you want to tag yourself or do you want to tag some other person who Facebook thinks that this person should be? So here our faces are being used in a supervised learning model where it gets trained to recognize our face on Facebook. So Facebook already have our so many photos. So there they take that photo and then they do the classification, and after classification they get to know that this new photo should be of this person's photo. Now another example would be like advertisement popularity on a website. So have you ever wondered why do we see a particular kind of advertisement on a particular website we visit? Like here, putting an advertisement at a specified slot is all work of an algorithm that runs behind the scene. So consider you have visited Amazon, okay? Then once you visit on mobile or on your laptop system, then you will see there are some ads being placed, there are some products being advertised there. Or if you visit some other sites also, normal websites, there also you will see some advertisement. In YouTube itself, you can see ads are being popped up at our website. So how do these work? And how do these websites know like which ad to show at what time? And to which target audience they should put this advertisement for? So all these are work of supervised learning algorithm that runs behind the scene. And simply in Amazon or in YouTube, they look for click-through rate, or they check for visits, like how many person has visited this particular ad. Like YouTube is showing this ad to 1,000 people and only 20 or 30 people have visited. Then at that point of time, YouTube will prefer some other advertisement which would be like more popular for them. So this is how it works, and all this happens at the runtime itself. Like then and there itself, they decide what to show for a particular customer, for a particular people, and then they select the advertisement. Third example I would like to give would be about a spam classification system in Gmail or Yahoo or any email services. So you must have seen there is a filter called as spam. There is a folder you must have seen, right? So why it is there in that Gmail? So this spam folder that you see, there is nothing but a supervised learning algorithm. So here what it does, it simply filters out every spam message that we get. And how does it classify all these things? Because they already have been trained on a numerous amount of data, numerous amount of email. They already know like if they are getting some proper kind of email, then what to do. Because in millions and millions of emails they already have been trained, right? So it's easy for them to identify. This filter classify email as spam or ham. Ham is nothing but not a spam, like genuine email. Now we will discuss the second type of machine learning algorithm, that is unsupervised learning. So unsupervised learning is much opposite of what we have seen in supervised learning earlier, and here it features no label at all. That means at the output part there will not be any data given. Here it will be like an open book, an open ending movie, where the model has to decide what would be the ending of the movie, what would be the pattern, what would be the cluster of that particular data. So this is how it works. So here the system is fed with a lot of data, right? But without label, and it is expected that the system will understand the property or it will understand the pattern from the data itself. And after the training, it learns to group the data together. So consider we have data like this, some triangles, some circles like that, and some square like that. Some random data is there, okay? and these data are fed into our unsupervised learning model. So this is our system where this unsupervised learning algorithm is running, right? Now after the calculation, after the processing, it will simply group it into three clusters. First one will be for this square, that we have got four number of square. We cluster these all together. Then for second it will cluster the circles, there are four circles also, and in the third case it will cluster triangles together. So again here four triangles we have, right? So this is how an unsupervised learning works. Just simply we have to give the data, and from there it will find the pattern or it will find the properties from the data. So I would write it as a raw data, and this is algorithm, and this is output. So once after a training it learns to group together, it is our job to comprehend this data as in subject matter expert or as a machine learning practitioner. It is our duty to recognize what is this square, what is this circle, what is this triangle. This is a very basic example I have taken. There are millions and millions of attributes may be there, some useful, some unnecessary, like that. So it's our duty to eliminate unnecessary ones and keep the necessary ones only, and then comprehend that. So it's really a interesting task to do that. And what makes this unsupervised learning so important? It is because in our recent times, 80 to 90% of the data that we get in an unusual format is of the type of unstructured data. Whatever you see in social media sites, all those are unlabeled in nature. And business of today's time requires the algorithm or requires the person who can play with the data to get the useful insights so that their business can be improved. That is why machine learning algorithm or machine learning data science is getting adopted in each and every industry possible in now time. Here also I will give you one real-time example, and this would be very relatable. We all use Netflix or YouTube, right? Have you ever seen there is a recommendation going on? Once you watch the movie or once you watch the video on YouTube, then that particular platform recommends you some video. Not only Netflix, there are many other OTTs also, like Amazon Prime or Z5, kind of those. So there also they recommend you the movies, the TV shows and all. So how does it happen? Have you ever wondered? So it happens because those OTT platform that I'm talking about right now, Netflix and all those, already have data of users. Data of users they already have, okay, and also they have data of movies. So movie data would be like title, duration of movie, genre of movie, etc. So what they do, they check these of like they check this title, duration and genre of the movie, and they check our recent watched video or movie. So consider we have watched some 10 minutes of video right now, and for the previous sometimes also we are watching some 10 to 12 minutes of video. So they know that our preference would be like 10 to 12 minutes of video. So here movie or video I will take in case of YouTube. What will happen? Duration they know for us 10 to 12. Genre we know. Consider you are watching video on YouTube about data science or artificial intelligence, like that. Title will be very easy for them to get, like what we are watching. You are watching machine learning right now, you are watching supervised learning playlist right now, then they will take the title also. So now they will try to find the similarity based on your data with the other users. Consider some user 1 has similarity with you, user 2 has also some similarity with you, user 3 has some similarity with you. Similarity as in like this preference that they have taken. Then they will check their user behavior, and from there they will get the best recommended video for you. So this is how it works. I will go in depth once I start this recommendation system that is in unsupervised learning. Another example I would take would be like buying habit of customers. It is very much likely that our buying habits are contained in a database somewhere, and that data is being bought and sold right now actively also, if I have to say. And these buying habits can be used in unsupervised learning algorithms to group customers into similar purchasing agents. And who owns this database? So this database can be owned by mega marts or any big companies for like from where we are buying our stuffs and all. So these actually segmentation helps the companies to promote their product to these group segments. Consider you go to Big Bazaar So there they take your details, right? Like name, phone number. Like they will take your phone number itself, and then from there they already have your data. And under your name, they put the names of all those items that you have bought. So for the first purchase, they know your behavior. Then again you go for second day and you buy something, then they already have fed it into the system. Similarly, after some days, they will get to know your pattern, like which things you are buying regularly. And you may get a customized offer also on your phone, like if you buy these things together, then you will get a discount of this much off, or you may get a hamper, gift hamper, like that. So this grouping, clustering, these all comes under unsupervised learning. And these megamart examples that I am taking is known as association rule. Here what happens, if you go to megamart, then you can see there are some products being clubbed together. Like if you are looking for a toothbrush, then you can find it here. Then at the nearby places you can find toothpaste also, you can find tongue cleaner also, those things. If you are looking for some butter and all, like milk product, then there itself you can find other milk products also. So how those products are shelved in that supermarket. Now we'll move ahead with the third type of learning, that is reinforcement learning. So normally this reinforcement learning is often been confused. So I would explain this in very simple terms. So I would say this is an algorithm which learns from its own mistakes. So consider a child is there in your home, and gas burner is on. So what happens, by mistake this child will go and touch this flame, and then he will get hurt and he will cry and all, right? But what happens in this case, he already got the feedback that if I touch this fire, then I will get hurt, so I should avoid this in future. So this feedback system that he got works as a feedback system in reinforcement learning. Similar thing happens from this experience. This child has learned something. Consider this child is playing cricket, and he knows that if he plays in a front foot, then he may score a 4 or 6. So he will try 1, 2, 3 times, then he will get to know like he's good at playing like that. Then in future also he will try to play that same sort. So what happens here, from the experience itself, this boy has learned how to get a reward for that particular action. So I will tell you about action, reward, environment now. So if we place a reinforcement learning algorithm, this is our system with algorithm. If we place it in an environment, so in the beginning it will make some mistakes, but over the time this algorithm learns to make less mistakes. So it will make less mistakes over a period of time. Fine, like after some experience it will happen. So as long as we provide some sort of signal to the algorithm, like for a good behavior there will be a reward, and for a bad behavior there will be a punishment. Our algorithm starts to learn and prefer good behavior for reward. So everyone, like whether it is child or any adult person or it is system, it will try to go for this reward, for this good behavior. And it is our duty that at the time of algorithm running, we have to provide some sort of signal that which kind of output is good, which kind of output is bad, and why this is preferred. So this is the basic theory behind this reinforcement learning. For this reinforcement learning, we need an agent and an environment, and there should be a way to connect these two, through a feedback loop. Or so here, to connect this agent to the environment, we need to provide a set of actions. Here this is set of actions that would affect this environment, and to connect this environment to this agent, there should be two signals we need to send. The first one is updated state, this one, and the second one is the reward one, like for a good behavior it will get a reward. So I would like to take one example of a Mario game. Considering the game of Mario, our agent is our learning algorithm, and game itself will be our environment, and this algorithm will be our agent, like which will learn. Also our agent has been assigned with a set of actions, and our state or updated state will be each game frame as time passes, and reward will be nothing but a score, increment in the score, we can say. So now I will make one structure. This is agent, and this is environment, that is game itself, and this is state, that is like time is passing, and here some set of action that is given. This set of action is nothing but left, right, up and down like this, which one to press and how to jump in Mario game. So now these will be connected. So as we connect all these components together, we have set up our reinforcement learning system to play the Mario game. So in reality, where this reinforcement learning is happening, like is it in the theory only or it's happening outside in the real world also? So there is one example, sometimes or a year back or itself. You must have heard that there is one algorithm known as AlphaGo, which has beat or defeated the world champion of Go game. So from here itself, you can imagine like how powerful these algorithms can be. Like who can defeat the world champion, human world champion. So there is nothing that these algorithms can't do now. And this is being developed by Google itself. Not only video game, industrial simulations also we can use it. Like there are many robotic applications that we know, right? And it can be used to have our machines learn to complete their tasks without having to hard code their processes, right? And this is like a cheaper and a safer option, and it can even be less prone to failure if it is operating in in its own manner, in its own algorithm. So what we can do, we can provide incentive to our machines when it completes its work in less time, so that there will be a power consumption also, and it will also save our money. So this is like a reward we have to put for every good work that they do. And the thing is like we should use simulations instead of the original machines, because in case of failure we don't have to worry about the machines, right? Simulations are done in computer system itself. I hope you must have enjoyed this video, and if you found this video useful, then encourage us by your kind gesture while liking and sharing this video to the data science community. And yes, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Stay safe, stay blessed.